This is our paranormal podcast because this is our paranormal community, and we want to support you here on RU Media Network. We are proud to be sponsored by the Haunted Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. Here are your hosts, Brian Mersall and Shawn Gilmore.
All right, well, tonight's a real special night, guys, because the people who catch the replay on the podcast, they get to hear two intros. Well, everyone on Facebook and YouTube, welcome to our paranormal podcast. Oh, man. So, as I was saying, we have a really good show. We have Jonathan Johnson. We're going to talk about his docuseries that he has on YouTube. We're going to talk about investigating. We're going to talk about Hinsdale House a week from Saturday. Man, I'm just trying to recap everything that was said before, but shorter. And meanwhile, Jonathan's thinking like, man, this guy's a fucking idiot. Who's running this show? Another thing that I brought up, though, was the Paranormal Challenge. And I had mentioned how Resident Undead, they kind of got their start there on that show, and so did the Haunted Housewives. And they've actually, the Haunted Housewives, they have a couple books out. They've gotten to be pretty well known throughout the country, and so it's really cool to meet someone else who got their start there. And you've been a part of other shows too, right?
Yeah, I have. Paranormal Challenge was the first one we ever did. It was an awesome experience getting to see the behind the scenes and everything that goes into a major network television show. It was pretty incredible. I was also fortunate enough to be on My Ghost Story on A&E Network. Got to fly out to Los Angeles to film that, which was incredible. It was my first time ever being out on the West Coast, so that was cool. And then I was also a consultant for the show Strange World on the Travel Channel. So been fortunate enough to have a little bit of into or be a part of the paranormal television side of it. And that's kind of where I found my love for the filmmaking side, and that's kind of what got me into the Forgotten Relics web series. Nice.
So Forgotten Relics, that's the docuseries on YouTube. But to find you on YouTube, it's actually listed under your team's channel, right?
Yeah, it's youtube.com/WVPara, WVPARA. And then, or you can search for Forgotten Relics. It should pop up somewhere on there.
It's awesome. It's a great show, guys. They do the history in the beginning, and they just show them investigating. And it's a lot of raw footage. And if you don't get to go out and investigate a lot, you really get to see how investigators go out and do it and what it's really like. And it's really, really kind of cool to see, because it's when you have those. There's a lot of great documentaries out there where they do a lot of editing, but you wonder what are you missing out on. And with this, you don't get that. You get to see what's really happening, and it just seems more real, like you're there with them. So it's really cool, man.
Yeah, that's one of the main things that we wanted out of the series is just like a raw, down and dirty kind of look. A lot of the shows, especially the ones on TV now, you see like 45 minutes of setup, and then you see like 10 minutes of actual investigation. So we wanted to, I mean, the history is important, so we wanted to showcase that, but we also wanted to show a lot of what we do, like I said, the down and dirty part of it, and show everybody, like you said, what's actually going on out there.
That's really cool. I mean, it's a lot of people don't know, and it's really cool to have the opportunity to show people how it's done. And you have that bear that's sitting there with you. You said that you built that yourself?
Yeah, we did. We've done a lot of our own kind of equipment building. Scott, who's in the group, who's our tech manager, he's done a lot. And then this little project, over here, this one was mine. Basically what we did is we took a motion sensor and we put it in the chest of the bear right here. So anytime anything walks by the bear, it'll vocally ask a question. And then we put up light up motion sensors on the hand. So anytime it moves, the hands will light up. So we've had a lot of success with that, especially if you watch the episode that we did at the Hangman House. You can see that we got some interaction with it, which is really cool.
That is really cool. And I think it's really cool that you guys build your own equipment. I've talked with people about building equipment. It's not an easy thing to do. You've really got to understand the way that a lot of the equipment works. And when you create your equipment, do you build your own chips or do you buy them already kind of created?
We buy a lot of stuff that we know works, and then we'll kind of fit it to what we need it to do. I mean, we don't have super technical backgrounds, so a lot of the programming and things like that, we're still learning, which eventually we would like to get to that point where we could do that on our own. But a lot of the stuff we'll buy that we know how it works, and then we can, like I said, fit it to what we need.
Right on. I mean, that's the way to do it, right? And it probably saves you guys a ton of money going out investigating and stuff. It's expensive. And that's one thing that we talk a lot about on the show is you don't have to spend top dollar. You can go out, you can make your own equipment, and you can get just as good of evidence. So that's really cool that you're able to do that. And then, of course, showcasing that in your documentaries. I kind of feel like you guys should brag about that. Not brag, maybe that's not the right way, but, express that you guys build these pieces of equipment so that people know that you guys do that, because I think that's really cool, and it shows. I mean, their equipment works well. So with this, you said that you guys were out. Actually, let's do this. What got you started with your team?
I've always been interested in the paranormal my entire life. I grew up in a house, or my mom grew up in a house that she would have activity in when she was younger. So she always told me stories that she would be upstairs in bed, and her mom would yell upstairs and tell her to get in bed because there's footsteps upstairs, and she would be under the covers petrified. So hearing stories like that always got me really interested. And then I got to college and I started doing more research. And that was about the time when the Ghost Hunters TV show kind of came about and got really popular. And that's when I realized, oh, man, people actually go out and do this and investigate. And that was kind of where my spark came from. So I actually reached out to my friends and family and said, hey, does anybody know any places that are supposed to be haunted? And my cousin, who had actually been pretty close to for my entire life, he lived basically 100 yards from me growing up, and we had never talked about it. He messaged me and said, hey, I've always been interested in the paranormal. We should do something with this. And then we decided to start West Virginia Paranormal Investigations. That was back in 2007. And it's just been kind of onward and upward from there.
Nice. That's awesome.
That is cool. I mean, it takes a lot of courage. So what do you say to people that want to get involved in the paranormal field, and then maybe don't want to just join a group, they want to start a group like you did in 07? Give us some tips, give us some inspiration. I mean, what would you tell these people?
Yeah, definitely don't be afraid to branch out on your own. I mean, it is always good to learn if you have that option from somebody who's been in the field for a long time. Mm-hmm. But it's also good to kind of go out and learn, because that's going to be the best way, is just through personal experience. So start out the way most people do it is, and that's the way that we did it, start going to public investigations at larger locations and kind of get your feet wet that way. And then just kind of go from there. The biggest thing is finding people who you can trust to be in your group, and that's one of the hardest things is finding people that you can rely on. And once you find that, then it just kind of gets easier from there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Definitely. Having the camaraderie and having people that you trust and you have that chemistry. I've noticed when you have a group like that, that's when you get the best evidence, best experiences.
And with all the drama or people faking stuff, or general, you just don't vibe with that person. Nothing is so. I led a college group, and I have my own group now in my hometown. When the investigation isn't that great, when you're not jiving with that person, or just because I've went with so many people that I either didn't know or I've never investigated with, and you think it's going to go one way, and it's the complete opposite, and it's not even the location. So just like you're saying, it's so incredible that you found a good group of people that you trust, that you like, and you jive with. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've had the idea to do the web series for a long time, and we didn't get it off the ground until last year, the end of 2020. And that's probably the main reason, is because I didn't have the group around me that I needed and that I trusted that I could get the product that everybody deserved. So having my girlfriend Vanessa and having our good friend Scott as the core members of the group, and then we have a few other teams in the area that we trust and that we'll work with, has made it really, really good. I think it's made it really, really good. Hopefully everybody else does as well.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Hey, man, you're getting some great call outs here, man. Shout outs here. You got Glenn Morgan saying that they love watching your live streams. And they love watching your team's live streams. So that's awesome. And that's a great way. Again, I mean, you guys are just showing more of what it's like going on a location. That's awesome that you guys do that. And then Rob Yachts, he says that you're a great guest, and he says, keep on going, doing what you're doing. Thank you, Rob. We appreciate you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, guys, if you have any questions or anything for Jonathan here, please let us know. We'll make sure to get them asked. We may not get to them right away, but it'll definitely get asked before the show comes to an end, I promise. So, and living in West Virginia, it's what is like the go-to like locations? Like here in Northeast Ohio, we have Madison Seminary, we have Ohio State Reformatory. What are like your go-to locations in your area?
Yeah, we're extremely fortunate. I'm in Morgantown, West Virginia, so I'm pretty centrally located to a lot of amazing places. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is probably the most well-known. It's been on literally every TV show that's ever been on. I've investigated there a half dozen times. It's absolutely incredible location. The West Virginia Penitentiary in Moundsville is another extremely well-known place. That's actually where we filmed our episode of Paranormal Challenge. It's an incredible building as well. We have a new one that's kind of popped up in the last few years, which is Sweet Spring Sanitarium down in southern West Virginia. And our good friend Cindy Harper runs the tours down there, runs the paranormal down there. And that's where we filmed our first episode for Forgotten Relics, was down at Sweet Spring. So another incredible location. And then honestly, we're not too far. We were actually just in Ohio this past weekend. So we're able to drive to Ohio. We're able to drive to Kentucky. We've actually been up to the Hinsdale House in New York. So, there's a lot of locations within that 6 to 8 hours if we really want to make that day drive and get to some cool places.
Nice. Can we ask where you're? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask, can we ask where you're at this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. We were at the Middle Point School in Middle Point, Ohio, and the former Williams County Jail in Bryan, Ohio.
Nice. The why am I not thinking? The guy that runs those locations, he's a really good guy. I investigated with him at Austin. Yes. Yeah, he's a good guy. I investigated with him at Madison Seminary, and he actually had us set up these REM pods, and then we connected them with a wire, and we kind of did like a net thing. It was a really cool thing to try out, and we did it up in some of the most active areas of the building. So it was really kind of cool to see that experiment being done.
Keep that in mind for when the episodes come out. Just a little foreshadow there.
Nice.
Just a little teaser, right?
All right.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Oh, maybe he's perfected it then, because that was a year or two ago. So that's awesome. That's awesome he's still doing that. Here, Glenn Morgan wants to know, what is the most haunted place you have ever investigated? He wants all three of us to answer. But Jonathan, why don't you go first?
I mean, like I said, I've been fortunate enough to go to a lot of the major ones: Trans-Allegheny, the West Virginia Pen, Waverly Hills, the Sally House, Bobby Mackey's, Sweet Springs. All of those are absolutely incredible, but probably the most consistently haunted place or consistent activity probably has to be either Trans-Allegheny or Sweet Springs. Both of those are right at the top of my list.
Nice. Sweet Springs is on my bucket list. That place looks awesome.
Highly recommend.
Yeah. Hear that, Brian?
I do.
All right.
We'll
Brian, what would you... Yes. So, Brian, what is the most haunted location that you've been to?
I there's a private residence of a good person that I know. We that we like going to. That's typically a good one, but I
know you've been to a lot of places with that old crew that you had.
I know. We slept at Madison Seminary back in the day, and that was just a creepy feeling to sleep there and have like my air mattress kicked in the middle of the night 3 times. I said, "Oh, that's just a great number. That's just what I wanted to feel, at 4 a.m." So I'll say Madison Seminary, but
yeah, I mean it's definitely it's definitely up there. I mean, man. See, I've been to a lot of good locations too, and a lot of private residences. And to say most haunted, that's like hard because there's different types of activity, right?
Yeah.
So to lump it into one, it's like hard. I mean, for me, the Monroe House, that place is insane. And I always say every investigator needs to experience the Monroe House. The Old Lincoln County Jail, man, that's one of my favorite locations. So it's just hard. It's like because it's different types of interaction. It's different. But I'm gonna go with the Monroe House just because it's got intelligent. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got non-human. I'm not gonna say it's demonic because I don't have a way of proving that, but it's definitely not human. What's there? It's got a lot of really, man. Every time I've gone there, it's been crazy. I'm gonna go with there.
Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was my 8th investigation ever. It was nice. I could barely remember it, and I don't have anything written down from it because I didn't keep my journal back then. So I got to go find that old footage somehow. I'll just go steal it from someone just so I can relive it. But can you tell me a little bit about the basement of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum? Like the first floor?
Yeah, I mean, actually, believe it or not, the Trans-Allegheny was actually my first major location. Like I had done some local stuff and some private residences, but that was the first like real place that I'd ever been, and that was one of the first places where I had like an actual experience where I was like, oh man, holy shit, there's probably something out there that we don't really understand. I mean, the stories there, the number of deaths, the living conditions, the way they treated everybody, just the completely insane reasons why you could commit somebody back in the day and it was just normal. I mean, it's outrageous to think about now. So, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that when somebody's treated like that or has to be in those conditions, that it could be a breeding ground for activity.
Yeah. See, man, I'm an empath. Going to hospitals like that, those are like the hardest investigations. Any kind. It doesn't matter if it's a lunatic or a mental hospital or if it's a regular medical hospital. Those are always the hardest ones for me.
Is there like a cafeteria on the first floor? Like if you like walk in and you go to the left, is there like a? Am I thinking of a different place?
Yeah, I don't think there's not one.
Okay. I forget. Moundsville is also a great place. The only thing I remember about Trans-Allegheny was like upstairs. You could almost hear like walking around. Like if you go up the stairs and it's like to the left side. I guess like if you walked up the stairs and kept going. I think you had to go like right and then left. But we did like a lot of lights out sessions there, and it was just weird either how sound traveled or it was just interesting. I mean, overall, I could barely remember, but it was a really good place.
Yeah, it's an absolutely massive location. Like literally one of the biggest, probably the biggest place I've ever been. Like even one wing is bigger than most buildings are, and then there's multiple wings. So, and then they have the wood floors in there, so there are a lot of footsteps. Where you'll sit down and you'll hear basically just people walking around, which is kind of crazy because, like you're talking about, the sound just carries in there because it's such a big location. So yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about.
Definitely. Here, Josh Bender has a question. He says, "Hey, it's cool to see you guys interviewing a fellow West Virginian. Have you have you been to that new place in Williamson, West Virginia? Josh Bender's Deadlights. You got to light up.
Yeah. Josh and I just started linking up a couple weeks ago. Started talking on Facebook Messenger and stuff. So I got an order in for a Deadlight when he gets him coming out again. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited about
all
that.
Three of us.
Yeah, same here.
All three of us have an order with Deadlight.
I'm getting two of the big boys, though. Trust me, JJ. I really wanted that experimental big one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, like the big boy that we're getting. It'll light up that huge Trans-Allegheny lunatic asylum. But I want the big boy. We're trying to go to Hinsdale House. We're trying to go in the forest.
Yeah.
I'm trying to light the entire forest up, baby.
I actually upgraded my order.
Okay.
I did. So I went to the next level up. So
yeah, too.
Yeah, I kind of figured. You know what? I got to do the big because the thing is, so I have this Q2N camera. It's the zoom camera, and after reviewing our last investigation, it's grainy. And the only reason why it was grainy is because I didn't have enough light. So I'm like, you know what? I need to get Deadlight up in here and light up this because this isn't okay. So I know
this isn't okay.
It isn't okay. So I'm like, how am I supposed to show this to my client? It's grainy. It's like, what kind of equipment are you using?
Hey, I gotta pull this up real quick. This is a really good guy that we investigate with, and he was like the advisor for the college team back in the day. We planned this Waverly Hills investigation that I did not go to, but it was fantastic, and we did a bowling alley once. And the ship was the best part. There's a ship in Cleveland, huge steamship.
Oh, the William Mather.
I don't know if that's where we went. I can't remember the name. Can't say. Actually, no, I don't think I ever did.
That's one of those things. I understand.
But if I did, that's definitely like the coolest place. And JJ, I mean, you've been to so many. What's the coolest place you've been to? Like, yeah, there's like private residences. Probably things been thrown at you. These big prisons. What's like the most unique place you've investigated?
We've been trying to branch out into some different places. We actually, for the web series, we filmed at an antique store in southern West Virginia in Beckley, which was really cool. Because one of the things that we're using a lot with Forgotten Relics is the idea of trigger objects and bringing in objects that have some kind of relation to the building. And when you have an entire building full of trigger objects, I mean, it's interesting to try to narrow it down to see
pinpoint.
So that was a cool one. I mean, been to too many to remember, but I mean, the Sally House is a really cool one. It's a small little building, a small little house in Atchison, Kansas, but it's insanely active. That one's always a interesting one to bring up.
Nice.
Gotcha. Yeah, we got this crazy haunted doll that we bring on it. Actually, I bring like 30 quote unquote haunted dolls, but we got this one that's like that we got. It disappeared. Craziest things happened. We got her back after 2 years. It was actually insane. Whole story behind that. But now, it gets to the point where you hop to a haunted, location, and you're talking about narrowing down or pinpointing it. I don't know, if like things are starting to pop off. Is it Sally the ghost over here, or is it something that we brought, which is hilarious? It's just like, it's just pull out that REM pod and start asking questions. We got to narrow this down or something. Oh yeah.
Guys, real quick, I'm sorry. I have to do this because Josh Bender asked this question and we did not answer it. We got all up about Deadlight and he asked about a location and we got distracted. Like that's like ADHD, like right there. All right, but here, so again, have you been to that new place in Williamson, West Virginia? And then he followed it up with, I think it's called. It's not scrolling for me. Hold on. I think it's called the Old Hospital in Cottage Hill.
We haven't been there yet, but we've actually been talking to the owner about setting something up in May. So if all things go according to plan, we'll be going there in May to film for Forgotten Relics. So fingers crossed we make everything works out because that building, it's brand new. It's only been investigated a handful of times, but it looks phenomenal. So I'm super excited to get out there.
I think that's the real magic. I mean, you've been doing this for 14 years or so. How do you get your team excited? You got your big possible investigation list. You're reviewing it, but I don't think there's anything more exciting besides catching something on evidence review when you're like, hey, we just talked to the owners. We got some dates. Let's pick the best one for us. I mean, that creating that excitement and magic. I mean, that's what it's all about, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
Yeah.
setting up locations is always it's a win. It's like yes, And so I agree with you guys. That is seriously as good as getting good evidence because you said that you feel like, especially if it's one of those places that are hard to get into. So that's a great feeling. Oh man, I love going to those locations that aren't overly investigated too.
Yeah.
So this hospital you're talking about is one of those. So that's awesome. Now, real quick, I had mentioned we're going to the Hinsdale house. In your bio, you mentioned that you've been in the Hinsdale house. It's one of those locations that people like to say, yeah, I've been there. I have a shirt that says I survived the Hinsdale house. So what is your most memorable? Let's build this up for Brian. I don't think we really need to, but we're gonna. What's your most memorable thing that happened to you while you're at the Hinsdale house?
So this is a crazy story, but it's actually not paranormal. And for anybody who doesn't know, Hinsdale is way out in the middle of nowhere in New York, and we drove 6+ hours to get there. And when we got there, there was a huge thunderstorm, massive thunderstorm rolled in. Well, a little bit down the road, there was a transformer. The transformer actually got struck by lightning while we were investigating, and there was a massive explosion. We thought the house was literally like getting attacked. Like it was so loud and so bright. And then we didn't have power for like 3 hours the rest of the night. So it wasn't paranormal, but that's still one of the craziest stories that ever happened on any investigation was this transformer blowing up right down the road from us.
That's awesome.
I mean, so like when you're running cameras, you're using electricity, like that power outage would really suck. But at the same time, that's like, there's no better time for the power to go out than when you're on investigation, So that right. I think that's cool. I mean, that's kind of like a gift, especially at the Hinsdale house, man.
Unless you got ghost cam, unless you got that ghost cam on there.
Oh, yeah, we're doing the ghost cam. We've got it all booked up. Have you heard of ghost cam, Jonathan?
I have, yeah. I think they had reached out to Cindy at Sweet Springs and talked to her a little bit, so I'm somewhat familiar with them.
Nice. Yeah, Vicky, who runs it, she's awesome. She's from across the pond. She's awesome though, and so we're going to do it. And we're going to get from 3:00 in the afternoon until like 6 in the morning of the HD footage from the security cameras inside the house. So basically, all we need to do is set up a camera outside. Hopefully, it's nice outside. We can leave a camera outside on the trail, because one of my craziest one of my craziest experiences was on that trail. I saw the humanoid figure on that trail, and I'm like, I got to try and capture this again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and
go ahead.
And got you covered. You're going on an investigation, all right? Maybe you only got 2, video cameras for your 2 camera operators because you split up into 2 teams. Or maybe, you just got 1 camera, right? And you hear something down the hall. Maybe you don't even have a static audio recorder, and you're like, I really wish I got that audio. I really wish I got that, footage. Or I'll give you the best example. You're investigating with Shawn over here. He rips a loud fart. This is the best thing ever. But you turned your camera off because you want to save that battery because the ghosts are draining your batteries. You know what I'm saying? Because, private, all these different locations, those ghosts are going to drain your batteries. These people, for $100, which, for a good camera like that's probably like 1/10 of the cost, they'll get all the footage for you. They'll do everything. And, you're already spending, $300 or $400 probably to rent this place. This is one of the best upgrades you could ever do at the Hinsdale house, and maybe like a few other locations. But I mean, hours, like 10 plus hours of HD footage. You're going to capture everything, and, they're going to do all the hard work for you. I mean, it would take hours just to set up all these cameras. So if you really want to catch those embarrassing moments, those crazy, crazy investigation moments where you say, did we get it? You can say yes. You can rest easy, put your head on the pillow, and know that you can get all the Shawn farts you want.
I like how you use the farts and Shawn farts, but yeah, here's the thing on it. If you want to pause it after the show, go back to the replay, of course. But ghost cameras are really, you can literally, they're on Facebook. Just find them. It's a ghost cam service, and it's a really cool thing. So they're getting more and more locations where you just pay, I think it's like $100, and you get all the footage from their cameras, from the HD security cameras for, like I said, we're getting it from 3 p.m. until 6 a.m. So that saves us a lot of time of setting up static cameras. I'm a big fan of using static cameras. So to me, I see a lot of value in it. And I think that it's, okay, that's my wife. Yeah.
She wants that cam footage, man. She's oh, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, and you're absolutely correct, Ann. I mean, what's up, John? And this right here should be in one of the bullet points that Shawn was showing. You're trying to get a quick sniff of sulfur because you think there's a demon there, but you can go back and review. Shawn ate that greasy pizza before the investigation, man. There's always pizza before the investigation. It's a rookie move. But Ann, you're absolutely correct. Oh my goodness. Hot, spicy, need some more.
All right. This is getting personal. Talking about farts and spicy.
Josh can't wait. Oh man. And with like a popular like web series, I mean, having a service like that, I mean, don't you just wish that every location that you went to offered that service just so you can, I mean, even if you bargained a little bit, just to get it, I mean, spicy farts, I mean, that would just that would bring so much value, especially for someone who likes to do like the raw footage, having more. I don't know. I think it's just a blessing in disguise. People get caught up with the $100 or whatever it is. Say, nah, man, you're missing out.
You have the rights to everything. So if you want to use it in a docuseries, you can. And you know what? I'm big into debunking. If I have an EVP, I like, if I have it just on a digital recorder, I'm not fully satisfied with that. I want to have something to compare that to. And so if I have that footage from the ghost cam or from the walking camera or what have you, honestly, if I can catch it on or have a static camera, a walking camera, and a digital recorder to debunk on, I'm a happy camper, because you need at least that much, because there's just too many things that can explain an EVP. It could be a creak, it could be a fart, it could be a sigh, it could be a lot of different things. And that's one thing that I learned when I was in Ectovision, because I did a lot of the debunking, where you even go as far as a creaking door on the other part of the building that sounds like an EVP in the other part of the building. And so when you have those static cameras, I just really see that. And the more you have to compare, the more you're able to say, yeah, you know what? There's no way you can explain this. So I don't know, that I really see a value in doing that. And that's why I really like the static cameras, because you just have, it's like you have more evidence of it not being explainable. If that makes sense.
Yeah, we always have at least two cameras running at all times, just for that reason, just in case something does happen. And there was actually a good thing that happened as far as the debunking goes at Sweet Springs when we were filming for the web series. We captured this absolutely incredible mist that we were all freaking out about, and this was like holy grail kind of stuff. Like, we thought that this was like the coolest thing we'd ever caught. We went back and watched a couple of different cameras, and what we figured out is it was a colder night, and there was a little bit of fog in the air, and the way that a car passing by, just like a certain way, just caught a reflection of a window, and we debunked it right there. So, I mean, I know we were disappointed, obviously, but we're not going to put anything out there that we're not 100% sure is paranormal in our eyes.
Right. As long as it's unexplainable, right? And that's all it's got to be. I mean, there's no way to fully say anything is paranormal. There's no scientific way to do that. So, but if it's not explainable, if there's no way for you to explain what happened, then you've got something good, man. And that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter if it's a shadow. It doesn't matter if it's an EVP. To me, of course, the real golden girl is that full body apparition, right? Everybody wants to get that, man. But honestly, I'm always just happy with a Class A EVP that cannot be debunked. So, yeah, here, and Iris Bale says, some groups don't bother to debunk. And John Ward said, too many. So John Ward makes is due to the docuseries scene as well. So it's cool that he's here with us. So guys, go to the YouTube channel here. It looks like there's 4 full investigations. Is that right? Because there's a 2-parter.
Yeah, there's two episodes at Sweet Springs. We have an episode at the Heyman House, which is one of our favorite locations here in West Virginia. And then we have the episode at the antique store. And then we filmed 3 more since then. So those are in the process of being reviewed and edited. So hopefully within the next couple of months, we'll have 3 more episodes out. And then, like I said, we got some more stuff planned out. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have double or triple that for everybody to watch.
That's insane. Yeah, let's go.
Right? Now, I've heard, now I don't know if you know Steve Hummel. He has Archives of the Afterlife. If you haven't been there, they are reopening at a new location. Have you ever seen Steve Hummel's collection?
Steve is actually one of my good friends. We met when he was working at the penitentiary in Moundsville. I've known him, probably 10 plus years. I talk to him on a regular basis. He used to help run the Sanford School in Moundsville, which is where his previous museum was. And that's actually where we filmed for My Ghost Story. So he helped us out with that. But I'm excited. I haven't seen the new building where he has his new museum yet, but I'm excited. It's definitely on the list to check out.
Brian, with your love for dolls, we're getting you in that place. I mean, this place, his collection is amazing.
We got to do it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the doll, but they're the one that The really creepy one to me. That's one I think of, the really creepy one. And you're probably thinking which one, but I touched it and I felt off for the rest of the night. I dropped my my Trifield natural meter in the box that the doll was in. I accidentally touched the doll, and the rest of the night I was just like off kilter the rest of the night. And ever since, I've been wanting to be alone with this doll, which is probably a bad idea, but which means it's really a good idea. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I agree.
This needs to happen. And he knows. He knows. I've been talking to him about it. But then we had a project set up and things just fell through, and then COVID happened. But now he's reopening, so I'm really excited. Yeah, Josh Bender says you have to check out the archives. I know. So that's really cool that you guys are good friends. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You guys are in the same kind of area. And another thing about Hummel, I think he's got pretty good taste in music. So we always end up talking about music when we're hanging out.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a metalhead in him, like I do. So always good to talk to anybody who's into the heavy metal kind of stuff, because that's my jam for sure.
It's crazy how many people in the paranormal are into metal. I like it.
So I mean, how do you flip that switch from listening to like heavy metal to static audio? Do you do a lot of that, or like, I mean, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, yeah. But I mean, I've been doing it for so long, you just kind of figure it out as you go along. But yeah, I mean, most of the time, my music's cranked to a 10, so I'm used to listening to audio cranked all the way up.
Yeah.
So
So like people that are just getting into the game early, right? You know, they're like, I don't want to do, there's 8 hours is enough for the investigation. You're gonna ask me to sit there and listen to 8 hours of static audio. Like what's the trick? What's the magic to motivating your team to help out and get involved in static or just I guess evidence review in general?
it can be tough if you don't have the right people that understand, because a lot of people, especially the new ones, like you said, they'll see stuff on TV and they think that that's all it is. It's super exciting, and majority of the time it's actually
work.
A lot more like right, exactly, hard work. So yeah, I mean, watching, like you guys were talking about static cams, man, that's like you said, 8 hours. You have to legit sit there and watch it and pay attention. You can't be doing 8 other things, otherwise you're going to miss that shadow or you're going to miss that item moving or whatever the case is. So you just have to have people who are committed and who understand. But it is work. It's definitely work. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
it is hard, man. It's hard to be sitting there reviewing and not to start, playing a game on your phone, because, like, at least with me, again, ADHD, like, oh, what's that? So it's hard. So I've learned to do like intermittent sections. So I'll review for like an hour at a time, or if I notice myself getting distracted, I'm like, okay, I got to stop because I need to focus. And if I'm not focused, I'm not doing the spirits justice, really, right? I'm going to miss something. I'm going to miss their story.
Yeah, I love static audio. So if I had to review static audio, EVP sessions, mobile cam, and static cam, it would definitely be listed in that order. Like I can jam to static audio because it's so clear when you hear something, like walking around when no one's there. Easy. You could be, doing something mindless while having the, Word doc open, Google Doc, etc. open, and just taking notes. Easy. Just make sure, like, if you're playing a game or something, that it's solo and you can pause it, right? The EVP sessions are a little different, right? Because you just got to listen a lot more carefully, because there might be hidden words in between, sentences. And, I could really sell a good mobile camera session. I mean, you're going to be reliving the investigation. If you weren't on it, there you go. Here's the opportunity to experience it. But it is so hard to sell static audio, or sorry, static like a static cam. Shawn and I went to a private residence, and we had a static camera, and the majority. So it was pointing down a hallway, and for the majority of it, I guess there was a door that we shut, and this camera filmed the door for 3/4 of the entire investigation.
Well, so this investigation was a private residence, and they're talking a little bit, and so we had to close off that noise because we were getting contamination. So you should have just thrown that camera out, man. I wouldn't forget.
He was just looking at the door. Oh, we did it. We did it, though.
I hats off to you, man. It's probably contaminated.
Yeah. Shout out to Rebecca. She was a champion. She's the one that did it. Absolutely.
She's the one that would rather wash your car than go and walk alone through Madison Seminary with a camera.
That's true. Shawn and I did these crazy solo run challenges where we're like blind.
We did clips of it.
We're getting blindfolded. We're doing all this crazy stuff on these solo runs. But beforehand, we were doing some duo runs. And we had Becca from my team, of course, come along and, be the camera operator. And as we switched, areas at Madison Seminary, I said, hey, why don't you just stay here by yourself for 3 or 5 minutes? And she's like, oh, no, man, it's creepy. I don't want to be by myself.
Want me to watch the Tesla? I'll watch the car.
Yeah, I'll watch your car. I'll do anything else, please.
It was hilarious.
No, we have a good time.
And then what was rule number? What you would say?
Rule number 2: always be brave.
Yeah,
that's it. Always be brave. So
she said that a lot too.
Yeah. She did. Rule number 2. So.
She had to remind herself. It seemed like.
Yeah.
You know what? I had to remind myself. So I was sitting in Sarah's room, blindfolded, with a RT recorder on. So I couldn't see anything around me, but I was sure as hell was feeling everything, and I was hearing everything. Mm-hmm. That was a crazy experience. I felt somebody in the doorway, and they just were not responding to me. I don't get it. Sure.
So JJ, what do you tell someone who's decently inexperienced, maybe 0 to 5 investigations under their belt, and they're still getting some anxiety or just being mildly afraid to go in small groups or solo situations? What would you tell them from like a paranormal sense?
It is tough. It can be tough to push yourself. The fear of the unknown obviously is going to get into the back of people's heads, and they're going to think worst case scenario. But 99% of the time, whatever's there is not going to be A, either strong enough, or B, aggressive enough to do any kind of harm to you. So whatever you're thinking about in your head is going to be worse than what's actually going to happen. So just slowly pushing yourself. If you're afraid to go by yourself, completely separate yourself in another room where there's another investigator nearby where you can still see each other, or just slowly work your way up until you're able to go off completely on your own in another wing or another floor, whatever the case is. Don't push yourself too hard, but definitely try to push your boundaries and grow as an investigator.
That's huge right there. Pushing your boundaries, growing as an investigator. And that's what I always talk about, this Madison experiment that we did, because that's what I did. And it brought me to the next level, even as an empath, because I would never do investigations by myself. I go off at least with one other person because of safety reasons, and also because there's this one time I was walking down a trail in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park all by myself. I was looking for my friends. They're investigating somewhere. I was all by myself. I had this crazy experience. I'm seeing these like orbs, like with my own eyes, these like colorful orbs like floating around. Like, I swear to God, I wasn't on LSD or anything. And I'm seeing these things. And it was like the most craziest experience I've ever had at this place. And I'm trying to explain what happened. And they're like, yeah, right, Shawn, you're full of shit. Shut up. On to what we experienced, because there was like 5 of us there. And we all got, so I was like, okay. So next time I don't go by myself, because people won't believe me, especially if I don't have a video camera. Because when I like to go to the parks, it's free. There's no closing time. You can go there on a whim, But the thing is that there's a lot of contamination being outside. So I don't usually bring a camera. Usually I bring a digital recorder, and maybe I'll take pictures with my phone or something. But I don't. It's very lax investigation type situation. So, man, I wish I had a video camera that night.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's like a huge thing for me though. Like it really, it's like hurt my feelings, man. It's like I'm telling you, this crazy thing happened. Like, why don't you guys care? Because they believe me. So that really stuck with me. But I think that I did also have a fear of being an empath. I never put myself in that vulnerable situation where I had to test my ability as far as grounding and shielding. And so you have to do that. Otherwise you don't know your limits. And you got to get yourself to that limit, and you got to push yourself. And honestly, the more you push yourself, the more open you are, and the more open you are, the more interaction and more evidence you'll get, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And that's the whole growth mindset where you're growing. And I don't think there's any better scenario for someone to grow than to learn all about JJ and his group on the Into the Abyss section, where we're going to ask JJ 13 fast fire questions you got to answer as quickly and as thoroughly as possible, my friend. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to say number 1 and number 13 for reference, but we're going to get right into it, my friend.
All right.
Let's do this. Into the Abyss.
All eyes on JJ.
Number 1, besides your senses, what's your favorite piece of paranormal equipment to use?
Audio recorder. That's how I started out. That was the main thing. EVPs, 100%.
Okay, so you've been on so many investigations. What's the scariest moment on an investigation you've ever had?
At the Sally house, I actually got scratched. I had 3 long scratches down the entirety of my forearm with nobody else in the area, no natural explanations, obviously no animals or anything. That was one of the first times I'd been physically harmed. So that one always sticks out in my mind.
That's absolutely disgusting. Thank you, JJ. Is there anything that you always habitually take with you on an investigation?
Not necessarily. I mean, other than our equipment and our cameras and everything. I mean, that's going to be our bread and butter. But I always have either some kind of cross or rosary or something on my person or in the bags at the location. Gotcha.
Or like the safe area. I like it. So tell us the difference, because you've been in the TV field. You watch so many. Tell us the difference between the impact of cut paranormal video footage and raw paranormal video footage.
Cut video, I mean, you can make it do whatever you want. I mean, obviously, the stuff you see on TV, they'll film for 2, 3, 4, 5 days for 40 minutes of actual footage. So they make it seem like they're there for a couple hours and they get this, but they're there for days on end. So most people don't realize that. So you can piece stuff together and make it however you want versus where you're actually showing the majority of your investigation to everybody.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now, 2007 was a great year, a huge jumping off point. Okay. Was there a year after that, where you thought this is just such a breakout year for us?
I mean, as much as 2020 sucked for everybody for obvious reasons, 2020 was a big year for us. We finally got Forgotten Relics off the ground. And like I said, I had been planning that for years on end, and it finally came to fruition. And I'm super happy with how it started, and it's just getting better and better with every investigation.
Wonderful. So what's a location you've never been to but always wanted to go?
The Villisca Axe Murder House has always been number 1 on my list, or high up on my list. I've worked with Johnny Hauser, the guy who runs it, before. So I've always wanted to make my way out there, but I haven't done it yet.
Okay. So, I mean, we all love West Virginia, but there's 50 other states. What's the most haunted state in your opinion?
So far for me, other than West Virginia, it's got to be either Kentucky or Ohio. I mean, I guess we're kind of biased there because they're so close and we've been there more. But as far as like locations I'd want to go, probably either, like I said, Iowa or Indiana, somewhere out there is pretty somewhere like that.
Yeah. So earlier in the show, we alluded to the fact that Shawn was having farts because of that greasy pizza before the investigation, right? So tell us your favorite pre-investigation meal.
Yeah, pizza is always, depending on where you get it from, it can be hit or miss. We try to avoid fast food as much as possible. Taco Bell is literally the devil as far as pre-investigation meals. But usually something solid, something like actually home cooked, or something legit like an actual meal is good. But yeah, definitely not Taco Bell for sure.
Definitely not Taco Bell.
Taco Bell's for after.
Right.
It's like the only place open besides Denny's.
Oh my gosh.
Or Waffle House.
I love it. What was the inspiration behind building your own Boo Buddy?
We actually used the Boo Buddy on one of our investigations before Forgotten Relics, and we liked the idea a lot, but we thought it could be improved upon and made a little bit better. So we just kind of took it on ourselves to see what we could come up with, and I think it's worked out really well.
Nice.
Yeah, honestly, like the lighting in your room was a little off, and all I could see was those just like eyes, and I'm thinking this is some weird nun doll or something going on, but obviously now you can just see that it's just a full bear. So thank goodness for that. So for you personally, how important is it to you to show the public how real investigating is versus all the cut, here's all the action, where they can actually see all the little bits and pieces of your investigation from start to end?
It's really important. That was one of the main things that we wanted to showcase, is a realistic look. I mean, other than live streaming the entire thing, there's not a whole lot else you can do from what we're doing as far as showcasing our investigation. So that was really important. There's so many shows out there, like we said, that will have an hour worth of stuff, but you're only getting 5 or 10 minutes of actual investigation. So that was one of our real setting off points, was to showcase what it's really like.
I love it. Now, we've all been wondering, but I haven't seen the comment yet in the comment section. But what's the secret to that beautiful paranormal facial hair you got there? I mean, it doesn't look patchy at all. I mean, that's the dream.
I've had a beard since I was in 8th grade, so lots of practice maintaining. I just trimmed it up to be on the show, so I wanted to look nice for you guys. So.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Hey, do you ever think about, I know selling the Boo Buddies, are out of the question, but maybe we can get some like beard oil branded up for you guys. What do you think?
It's not a bad idea.
Paranormal beard hair.
That's good. That's solid.
There's a surprising amount of people in the field that's got some huge beards. So I mean, you could, yeah. Oh, check it out. You just
JJ's
pizza grease. Yeah, there you go. Pizza grease. JJ's pizza grease for the beards. I love it.
There you go.
And number 12 here.
I want to put it in my beard.
If there was one episode of yours that you can tell people to watch, which one would you have them watch?
As much as I love the Sweet Springs episodes because it was our first ones, go watch the Heyman House episode. It is the evidence that we captured at the end of the episode is one of the craziest things that we've ever experienced and ever documented. So 100% go watch the Heyman House episode.
Gotcha. Now, how do you spell that for everyone?
Haymond. Haymond.
Gotcha. Now, this is number 13. It's the last one. You have such a following, and you have a beautiful paranormal community out there that loves your content. what's the one message that you want to tell your paranormal community?
I just want to say thanks to all of our friends. Like we talked about in the beginning, it's really hard to find people that you trust in the field. So the people that we work with, we really value them to a high level. And to anybody out there who supports our web series or our live streams, anything like that, any support at all, we are super thankful. And we're just trying to make the best content we can for you guys.
Thank you so much, JJ. That was the Into the Abyss section, my friend. Yeah.
Nice. I found the video. I put the link in the comments for the Heyman House. And Irish Bale asked if it's on Prime. It's on YouTube, honestly. A lot of people were doing the whole Amazon thing, but Amazon has changed their rules. So, man, I'm hoping people are going back to YouTube more. I don't know. Maybe I'm partial to YouTube because that's like where I got my start with Ectovision. But I just think that, man, there's just so much content there, and it's free, and it's just so much easier to get it, and then you can have the conversation after that. And I don't know. I'm a big fan of YouTube. So when it comes for docu-series, so. That's awesome that you guys chose that platform as your main platform. Other than YouTube, where else can we find you?
We're on all the socials. Facebook, you can search us West Virginia Paranormal Investigations. We're on Instagram. We're trying to get more active on there. We also have a TikTok, which I feel like 100 years old being on TikTok, but we're trying to be engaging on all platforms, so we'll see. It's kind of fun making some spoof videos and stuff like that. So we're out there, man. We're trying. We're really proud of our product, and we want as many people to see it as we can. So
nice.
We really appreciate you guys having us on here.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, man. This is exactly why we started the show, is to help promote people like you. I mean, like I said, I come from Ectovision. I don't know if you've heard of Ectovision Paranormal.
Oh yeah.
And
absolutely.
I feel like it's like you said, it's a lot of hard work. And then you do all this hard work, and then more work starts with the promoting. And promoting is very time consuming, and it can be very expensive. So that's where the whole premise of starting a podcast for me was for this exact thing. So I want to thank you, brother, because without you, there'd be no show. And without you, people wouldn't, like you, who want to put the hard work and dedication in making docuseries, we wouldn't have this to learn from. Because I don't care how long anyone's been doing the paranormal for, there's always something new to learn. And you're not going to learn by watching the same people over and over again. That I follow a lot of different teams, and I watch a lot of different docuseries, and it's all because I want to learn. And for me, I want to be able to assist. That the reason why I got into paranormal was to help people in their homes and businesses, and I want to be able to do my very best at that. How am I going to do my very best if I'm stuck to my own ideas? You got to keep an open mind, and that you guys help that. You guys help promote that, and I think that's kind of like one of the many things that people don't think of, because there's so many different ways of investigating, and then you also use it as a way to kind of. There's some people that you're not going to agree with their method. Okay, it's a good way to learn what you don't like, right? So I don't know. It's just all around great learning tool, and then you're getting spirit story out there. So, and with that being said, I have a TikTok too, but I always end up like I try to do paranormal stuff, but then I always end up like doing more family stuff or like barbecue and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. I never thought I'd be on TikTok, but yeah, we're there.
It can be fun. And there's definitely some interesting stuff there on TikTok. Don't get sucked in, man. When I first got into TikTok, I got sucked in. I'll be sitting
hours,
there watching.
hours.
And the next thing I know, next thing I know, it's 4 o'clock. I'm like, did I really just stay until 4 o'clock in the morning watching TikToks? Like, what? I did that.
That's why I didn't download.
That used to happen with me with video games. Why am I not playing video games? I'm like, man, I could have been playing Halo, but nope. TikTok.
Yeah, no. So I used to watch like Vine compilations on YouTube. And so when TikTok came out, I said, oh no, this is like even more calculated, dopamine crack. So I know it's just gonna eat up my hours. I'm not gonna retain anything. I said, and I know it's beautiful for a team. Like definitely, like if you're trying to grow and distribute on a lot of social media channels to grow your viewing, grow your viewers, get your content out there. TikTok is where you need to be, but I will sacrifice it because I do most of the promoting from my personal group, and you know what? I can't do that. It would wreck my soul.
When it comes to social, I don't either. When it comes to social media, it's like for some reason it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is for the old people. I've learned.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm old. You're old, Brian.
I'm an old soul. I'll sit there.
You're an old 20-year-old man.
Yeah, it's a real issue. 26. Hey,
I know.
You can round up to 30.
Almost.
Oh my gosh. How has TikTok been for you? Like, have you found a lot of success? I heard that there's like a lot of organic growth when it comes to TikTok.
Yeah, I haven't mastered the algorithm yet. I'm still working on that to see what kind of content really is going to get to drive the views and drive people to our other, like you said, other social media. Just experiment with different things, using teasers from like little clips of our episodes, and then just like our own content. Like I said, we've always talked about making spoof videos of like other people, like the other like outrageous teams, like making fun of like Ghost Adventures and stuff like that, which I mean, we love Ghost Adventures, but I mean there's a lot of stuff to make fun of, obviously. So stuff like that, I mean, we're like always talking about that. I think TikTok's like the perfect platform to do stuff like that. We just haven't got to that point yet, but I think it's out there. I mean, there's definitely some options for it.
Yeah, if I could recommend anything, got to have a ghost fart on there and just hand the camera right over to that person, because there's always one person whose stomach is exploding. And at Madison, it was me. What did I have? I had like a peanut butter and Nutella sandwich, and my stomach sounded like a demon. I was like, I knew I shouldn't have had this.
Hey man, I learned from you, and I had Subway before that one, so I knew.
I know, it's just, and he threw it in my face too. Yep. It was.
Yeah, it wasn't me. So.
Oh man.
So I mean, but yeah, that's when. I don't know. There's people that do all different types of things on there, and I think that spoof videos are great. And when it comes to the TV shows, I mean, dude, especially, I mean, Ghost Adventures, they've been on for years. Yeah, there's a lot of content there. So I think that, I don't know, if you could do something like that and not get in trouble for anything, then because I don't know what gets people going. I'm not legal. I just kind of do stuff, and I don't know, but I mean, no one's going to get much from me. It'd be a waste of their money. I think if they were to come after me. Just saying.
How many investigations have you been on, JJ?
Oh, I have no idea. Hundreds, yeah, more than I could.
That's awesome. You got to go back and start counting. I found it hilarious to go back and count. You got to do it. I mean, just to throw it out there, like this is gonna be my 100th, 200th investigation. I mean, that'd be insane.
Just like
I don't even know if I could remember all of them between some of the residentials we've done and some of the repeat locations. I mean, I have a lot of stuff on just like old hard drives from where we were just doing like EVP sessions and stuff. So I have a lot of them documented, but not all of them. I mean, I could probably get a guesstimate going, but man, that number is pretty high.
Yeah, and then of course the hard drives are going to be, breaking. You got to go to Best Buy to see if they'll fix it. I mean, it's just a lot of heartache. But I'll tell you one thing. I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting just from like a mathematical perspective, because I love numbers, this is my 50th, 100th, 150th, 200th investigation, etc. But trying to write down maybe just something small with each investigation, or like in a notebook, right?
Yeah.
What kind of like legacy asset would that be to give to a family member, or like if you were getting out of the paranormal game at some point, just to give someone or have someone transcribe it into like, I mean, people are writing books about everything these days, or just like a little journal, like an online blog or something. I think because your love of creating and distributing to make sure people can enjoy this content that you slaved over with love, I think just being able to share that aspect as well. But yeah, just like you said, it's going to take a weekend, like an actual full weekend of going through stuff and looking at old posts. But I think it might be worth it for you. I mean, your wealth of knowledge,
Like that a lot.
so many investigations, my friend. I don't know. There's stories to tell too.
I'll tell you what, man. My first investigations, I put everything on this laptop, and the laptop just died.
Mm-hmm.
It died. I didn't back it up on a hard drive. I have all my first investigations, all that. I think that I have a few of my original EVP, like some of my like favorites, just because I went and I found where I shared them with other people, so I was able to download them. But man, most of that stuff is gone. I'm really, really pissed off at myself for losing all of that. That's just like, man, because when you're first going out there, that's when it's like the most, like you get like even more, you get like excited over a breath, I mean, so it's just like to see that growth. Like I can't go back to see how I was back, 10, 11 years ago, compared to now. So I don't know, maybe I haven't grown at all. Ask my wife; she'll tell you.
She said you were hot.
I mean, looks aren't everything, are they? Well, maybe they are.
And that's something you can write down in your journal. You know what I mean? Something a little paranormal. Right. But that's what I've been trying to tell people as like one of the first steps. I was like, if you could take me back to 2013, it'd be like, Brian, keep a journal, and whether it's like right after an investigation, maybe 0 to 3 days, so it's fresh, and maybe a cute little table of contents, okay, just so you can track, and then also like a section if stuff happens at your house or it just happens throughout your daily life, timestamp it, day stamp it. That's invaluable. I pay so much money to go back and see what my thoughts were on my first investigation, the second one. So, when you're starting out young, I mean, write it down.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's really good. Really good advice.
And just from like a purely selfish standpoint, I would love to go through, all of your experiences and see the way that your brain works and see it, how you categorize certain experiences and how you the word choice you use, that would be interesting. That would be something fun to follow. Whether it's once a month or once a week, like depending on what you're doing, you just like issue those and have your other team members do it too. So it's like it could be, you could stack up weekly content for weeks, But
yeah, content is king. So anything good for content.
Oh yes, content
I'm all
is
about
king.
it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love marketing, but yeah, that's a whole other side note.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you got going on with your group? What's something that people can get excited about? What's the newest projects?
Yeah, like I said a little bit ago, we do have 3 investigations that we filmed over the past 2 weeks. So we've been busy. So those are all getting ready to review and then edit, which is going to take a while. But we'll have that out later this year. Like I said, we have hopefully a couple, at least one in May, hopefully a couple in May. Then depending on what happens with COVID and stuff like that. Hopefully, like I said, we're shooting for at least 8 to 10 episodes for the rest of the year. So we're trying to push it as hard as we can, and push ourselves as hard as we can to get content out there. So, and then we always do live streams at all of our investigations. So if anybody likes watching live streams, the Facebook, and then eventually when we get to 1,000 on YouTube, we'll be able to do live streams on YouTube as well. So
That's cool.
Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. But yeah, we're really excited about 2021.
So everybody, go subscribe to the YouTube channel now, so they can live stream on YouTube. Man, that's the type of content you need, man, for your channel. That's so it's on TikTok. In order to go do live, you have to have 1,000 people that follow you. And what sucks about TikTok, though, you go live, once you're off, content's gone.
Right.
So TikTok, that's stupid. TikTok, I'm just telling you. I don't go live on TikTok. I went live on TikTok twice. I worked so hard to get to 1,000, and then I was like, yes, I can go live. And I went live once, and I went to go watch the replay, and it was gone. I was like, what? Oh, that's stupid. I think I did it one other time after that, and I never did it again. I mean, I want the content to stay. So YouTube does that for you. You can always go catch the replay. Facebook does that for you too. But what's really cool about YouTube is it connects all of your other content. So guys, go follow them and subscribe, hit the bell. You guys know the drill.
Hit the bell. Okay.
Yeah,
you got to get the noties.
Wow. That's crazy. So you're working on a few projects. What's your favorite, if you had to pick one, where do people follow you on what social media?
If you like the live stream, Facebook for sure. That's just the easiest way for us to go live right now. But our YouTube is our number one thing. We're trying to drive the YouTube as much as possible. So we're trying to use all the other platforms to push everybody toward YouTube. So YouTube's where you're going to get all of the main content. And then we are working on some new content, some like behind the scenes vlogs of our investigations and stuff like that. So if you like seeing the behind the scenes stuffs about how we set up for investigations, or how we plan out our camera shots, or how we plan out certain things, or just us driving to and from the locations, stuff like that, we're going to start doing some more stuff along those lines. So YouTube is for sure the number one, but Facebook's a good one as well.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I like Facebook just to like post the photos and the like the written updates, and of course the videos. But most of the videos, I'll change up the descriptions a little bit, and then I'll distribute them on both channels. But there's like some series that I have, like we do Scary Game Saturday. It's real ghost hunters play real scary games. So that's the fun little thing, we put ourselves in so many scary, uncomfortable situations, ghost hunting. But how does a real ghost hunter fare against these crazy, whatever games? And it's just so fun to get everyone over to have a blast. So we do that. But that's like a YouTube original where we just post a link to that. And that's kind of our, you can watch our Paranormal 101s. You can watch, clips of the Into the Abyss, to also promote this as well, or any story times that we have. But on both distribution channels, but specifically, that one is just a link on Facebook that drives it to the YouTube. So you can enjoy 75% of the content and then some on Facebook because of the posts and the photos. But then you could always just go to YouTube for the full video content. And it's a lot better organized. I don't like putting the folders or the playlist together on Facebook. It's atrocious, in my opinion.
Would people do that?
Yeah.
Facebook is like, sorry, Facebook, I don't like you. It's a pain in my ass. I post a video and then I'm done with it. That's as far as I go. Because everything else, it's like you said, I'll do the folders on YouTube, but if you go, I don't know, Facebook, I'm sorry, you make things too complicated, and it's it's not really that great. And then you're not gonna share it anyways for me. And I don't know. Facebook is rough. Facebook, their algorithm is all whacked out, and they change it all the time.
Unless you're paying for ads, Facebook's not going to show anybody.
Exactly.
Like we'll have a link to the Forgotten Relics, and I mean we don't have a huge Facebook. We have like 38 or almost 4,000 followers, and we'll get like maybe 100 to 150 people see the link. But we'll post a stupid meme like making fun of something, and we'll get like 10,000 people to see it. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Correct. And I like to say, like on Facebook, when you're first starting out, it's first off so hard to organically grow, but to even produce like video content where you're trying to, you're asking for that much of a time commitment. It's so hard, especially for groups starting out, that just photo content, memes or just us being family, like a para family, or even just this is a cool shot of the investigation, or even evidence that's like in like photo form, right? You see a figure, you see a mist, orb, etc. But heaven forbid you want to show some evidence and it's like 30 seconds long, 10 seconds long, just so you don't take up so much time for your community. They're gonna show that to no one. That video is dirt to them. They ain't no one's seeing that.
Yeah.
Unless JJ, you got $5. You got about $10. We'll even spread it out over 10 days.
Yeah.
This is how many people.
They'll give you a free $5, whatever.
Right. Yeah. Free. Exactly.
They try to sucker you in.
I won't see my content. I won't see my content on Facebook, but it'll trick me. I'll see my content and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing my own content. And it'll say, this is what it would look like if you boost it. This boost. I said, man. I'm just trying to get the content out there to the paranormal community. All this good stuff, like actual investigating, not faking it, actually debunking it, the good stuff. Man, they're in cahoots. Facebook's in cahoots with the paranormal bigwigs. They don't want that. They don't want that.
That's funny.
I don't know. It's so crazy.
So we talked about like what you think is the most haunted location. What is your favorite type of investigation to do? Is it indoor? Is it outdoor? Is it private residence? Is it a jail? What's your favorite type of investigation to do?
Basically anything that's not been overly investigated, anything that we're either one of the first or the first teams to get into always excite me more than others. We did a lot of residentials when we first started out. We don't do residentials anymore just for liability reasons. We ran into some problems as far as homeowners leaving stuff around, and then we would like get a key to a house and they wouldn't come get their key, and then you're just like on the hook if anything happens. So we had a lot of bad experiences, and that's definitely not all homeowners who reach out, but we just had some unfortunate luck with some residential stuff. So we don't do that very much anymore unless we really know the person. But like, anytime we can get into a place, and one of the places we just filmed at is a place that just opened up. They just are starting to allow teams in, and we're like the first or second team to ever be in there. So places like that really excite me. I mean, the big places are always cool just because everybody knows the stories and everybody knows the visuals. But being able to go into a place firsthand without knowing or without seeing everything else, that's always fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's always when you have the opportunity of going to a location and if it's like a business that people allow you in, or a historical location like a historical society, going to places like that don't get a whole lot of investigations done, but that there's like activity. I agree. Those because that's where you really need to think about how you're going to get the interaction. Spirit isn't going to know how to use if you're into using doing the different hacked radios, or they're not going to know how to communicate that way. They're not going to know what a REM pod is. So how do you get them to interact with these pieces of equipment that we have? And it's always, that challenge is always really cool, because you really get to know the location that way. It's definitely more.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then you also, I think that sometimes, like if you go to a place that's like overly investigated, it's like the place is haunted, but they're not like communicating. It's just like, okay, I've already sang this song a million times, so now you got to come up with something completely different, just because how else are you going to get the attention? Because they don't give a crap about you, because someone was just there last night asking the same damn questions.
All right, JJ, I got an experiment for you. Brand new segment that we might launch.
Oh yeah.
Okay. It's called Paranormal Over Under. All right. And you need to say if this is overrated, underrated, or properly rated, and a 1-sentence response why.
This is like that would you rather game. Okay. Paranormal would you rather.
Well, close, except we're not comparing things.
Right.
That's the 80th segment that we're going to have on the show. I don't know how many segments. All right. Just, we're not going to do 13. We're going to do 10 of them. And I'll give you number 1 or number 10 as a reference here. But again, I'll say a word. You say overrated, underrated, properly rated, and give me just a sentence justification of your opinion. Ready?
Ready.
All right, number 1, dowsing rods.
Underrated.
I agree.
Because they're not properly taught and people don't understand how to use them.
Investigating with the homeowner.
Properly rated because it depends on how you do it. It can be really good or really bad. It's up to the team.
Orbs.
Highly, highly overrated. 99% of them are bullshit.
Big locations that cost over $1,000.
Ooh.
Overrated. Unless you have a 10-person team, most of the time not worth it.
Debunking.
Underrated. Not enough people do it at all.
Psychics.
For me, it's overrated because I don't know enough of them personally, but I have seen some that I believe, but for the most part, I would say overrated.
Thermal cameras.
Overrated.
I agree.
We have one and we hardly ever use it.
Private residences.
For us, highly overrated. But for the right team and the right situation, could definitely be underrated.
Trigger objects.
Super underrated, obviously, because that's our whole idea. So super underrated.
Number 10, Paranormal Team merch, swag.
Super overrated. unless you're on TV, I don't see the point in it.
I love it. There's there was just that questions.
Some of those are really good.
Thank you.
I like how you answered all of those, Jonathan, because it's real. So like private residences for you, they're overrated, but for someone else, maybe not. The thing is that now the paranormal, thanks to TV, has become a form of entertainment, and that for me is where it gets complicated as far as doing private residences, because people want to have you in their show, and they think in their home, you think you're gonna be like a free sideshow, free entertainment for the night. That's one reason why I don't like involving homeowners, along with other risks. But really, that's like the main thing. There's always this one story I like to tell, Man, we went to their house, dude. We had experiences when we were doing the preliminary interview. This place was haunted, and we were excited to go in and do this investigation. We said, look, all we need from you is find a place for your kid and get your animals out of the house for the night. That's all we need, and we'll do a full-blown investigation. And this was a duplex, so we had 2 homes investigated in one night. We were so pumped. We get there. They had 2 more dogs and 5 more people. We're like, yeah, guys, sorry. Call us when you don't have as many people. And we grabbed our stuff, turned around and left. They were super pissed. So,
yeah, and that's unfortunately an all too common thing. And again, I'm saying these things, and this isn't for everybody, but from stuff that we've experienced, a lot of homeowners just want attention, and that's an easy way for them to get attention is by coming or calling a team in and saying, "Hey, this place is haunted." So what we found out is that people would say, "Oh, we've had this experience and that experience, and we've never done anything here." And then we show up at the house and they're like, "Hey, listen to this EVP, or listen to this picture, or look at this picture." And then all this stuff that they've done on their own. And like, well, you just told me that you've never done anything here, but now you're showing me all this stuff. So, I mean, in those cases, they're obviously just want you there for attention. But then there are people that legitimately need help. But my big problem with residentials is most teams that I've seen go in to try to prove what's there when they should be going in trying to debunk everything. The majority of the time before they ever bust out of a piece of equipment should be spent trying to find natural explanations for whatever the homeowner is experiencing. If you're not doing that, then you're just making the problem worse. So if you go through and you debunk everything and then you're able to find an EVP or whatever it is, that's awesome. But if you go in and the first thing you do is bust out your recorder and start asking questions, I mean, there's no way for you to know that that's not something in the house. And then it's just going to make the homeowner even more paranoid or even more scared. So I have a lot of reservations with residentials just because they're not usually done the correct way.
They can be. There's a lot of people that don't do it the right way. And you're right. It does make it worse. And then there's the people who go into, and there's the mentally ill people. And then it gets to be, I've had quite a few of those. It's just, but the thing is, when you have people hearing voices and seeing stuff, I mean, I guess that's a risk that we take as investigators, because that's definitely, a lot of people, when they have paranormal investigators, the first place they go is a psychiatrist. Honestly, you're not wrong. You definitely want to seek medical attention. You got to rule that out, but it's not always the case. So I know you're right, and that's. I think like I'm still waiting for that one big case. Like I've done a lot of residentials, but I still haven't had that one big case that it's just like, man, this was awesome. I've had cases where I've really helped people, and it's been great, and it's been an honor to be a part of. But that one case, that one case, the one that they write books about. I want
right. Exactly.
Love me a free investigation, because I'm used to managing a team 10 plus, which I've always done. There's just always someone that would always tag along. Maybe like they don't go on all of them, but it's just nice to have. So it's easier for the big locations. If it's $300, you split it 30, but just being able to give like a free investigation or just do like a $15 investigation fee so you could build up some reserves, just to help either equipment or do like reduce the cost of like the big locations. You know how it is. Love me free investigations, but private residences are so hard, and I never used to have this problem, but it's in my perfect world, it's my team investigating, and it always turns out to be more people there, and that opens up for noise contamination. It opens up to honestly everything, and it just derails my focus. Like I'm there to debunk. I'm there to do some wonderful things. Have my team members have like a magical night. We're helping people, but it's just a lot harder. So, I always say let's do 2. Let's have one without you there, one with you there. See, even you like almost use them as like a trigger object. Compare and contrast.
Yeah.
Exactly. Little control variable, but it's rough. It's rough. Yeah, but I mean, I know we're gonna start wrapping up here, but I guess my only last question is, if I mean, you've done so many things, like so many series since 07, and you see now like one of the scary movie fads is like, doing more paranormal investigation stuff wise. If if someone called you and said, "Hey JJ, we want you to help us work on like the next Conjuring, and it's going to have more paranormal investigation aspects," I mean, what kind of elements would you help them put in there?
That's a really good question. I like that a lot. Basically, I'm the worst person that ever asked that question to because I cannot watch a scary movie. Like, I have no problem going in the basement of the Sally house or somewhere else and sitting by myself. But to sit me down and watch a scary movie, I just can't do it. Like, I hate it. I don't know why. I hate jump scares. I hate loud noises. My mind just messes with me too much to watch a scary movie. So I would be a terrible person to ask that. But basically, I would say one of those things that would mess with me is just to let the imagination do all of the scaring. Because you don't need to have 18 million jump scares because your mind's going to be more powerful and going to build that up and make it scarier than a jump scare would.
Yeah, this is the exact reason why I said, listen, give it a few years to catch on, and even if it doesn't, it's just hilarious that all of our group members do this. Scary Game Saturday is hilarious because you'll have people that either are hot shots at these games, don't scare them, but they won't spend 2 minutes down in the nunnery basement by themselves, or vice versa. They're hardcore, but when they're playing with these noise canceling headphones on, they're like beads of sweat going down their face. You got that beautiful, because you got to play in the dark. You got that 4K camera, IR, just for ghost hunting, right? And you can see the beads of sweat going down their face. They're shaking. It's hilarious.
That would be me for sure. Yeah. That would 100% be me.
Listen. And next time you come to Ohio, we'll sometime in the next 3 years, because I know how busy we all are. Sometime in the next 3 years, let's link up. We'll do an investigation, but we'll do some scary games beforehand too. You pick your favorite pre-investigation meal. We'll make it happen.
We'll be back in Ohio later this year, so
I love it. Yeah, and you need to. Let me actually write this down because I am curious. What's like the best West Virginia or around that area locations for you? Obviously, we have Tala or Trans-Allegheny Lutheran Asylum. What are the other ones?
So one that's super underrated and not well known yet, but is going to be well known, is the Haymond House in Sutton, West Virginia. The owner there, Teresa, is amazing. She's been super nice and letting us come in. We've been one of the main teams to kind of get in and explore that place. It's very new to having teams in there. But every time we go there, we have different stuff happen. And we're kind of learning the story. We're getting more pieces every time we go there. So I absolutely love that place.
I love that.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. We're learning stuff that is being corroborated by her research later on that we didn't know beforehand, which is always amazing. So highly recommend that. And then Sweet Springs. Cindy does a phenomenal job running the tours there at Sweet Springs. So that building is the history there and just the views, the visuals, and everything there, unbelievable. So those two I would highly recommend.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so definitely going to put it on the list. And before the end of 2020, you have my word, JJ. We're going to hit all those. And yeah, going back to a location you know, some novices will be like, why are we going back there? No. It is such a different experience every time.
Yeah. You can't go to a location one time and know what's going on.
Oh yeah.
And understand it. You've got to go there multiple times. It's great to say, yeah, I've been there before. Yeah, but that's why I keep on going back to the Monroe House. That's why I'm excited to go back to the Hinsdale House. And that's why I keep on going back to Madison Seminary and the old Lincoln County jails, because I want to understand more than just have a couple experiences. And that's part of really learning it. But you know what? If some people, though, they're in it to have that one-time experience, to have that that unforgettable, life-changing experience. And you know what? Those hats off to you too, man. You do what you do because you're helping support these historical locations, and they, you know, you guys are needed. And so I'm not putting that down, but that's just more along my lines. I want to understand it. I want a better understanding of what I experienced when I was younger. Right. I think that a lot of people get into the paranormal because of experiences that they had when they were younger. I want to have a better understanding of it because they didn't have this stuff when I was a kid. On the Discovery Channel, they may have had like some of those reenactment shows, like I was on Paranormal Survivor, like stuff like that. But it's not. It doesn't really. It's nice to know you're not alone, but it doesn't help you understand. And the shows out there, like it's all demons. Oh, it's scary demons. And you know what? Great, it sells, and that's great for you. But that's honestly, if you come across a demon, you've experienced probably 1% of what's out there in the paranormal. It's very, very unlikely for you to come across something that's demonic. Not every number 3, not everything that happens in a 3 is demonic. Not every scratch is demonic. I'm not downplaying the times that were, but a lot of times things are built up to be more than they are. And that's how the only way you can really understand it is by experiencing it and getting to know how a location is. You go to a location that has consistent activity and you get to learn that activity, then you have such a deeper understanding. And you having access to a place like that is amazing. Because
it really is. Yeah, absolutely.
Most investigators don't have that. Most investigators, they scrounge up the change and go to locations as they can. So it's awesome that you guys have that, because man, to have that type of opportunity to get to know these locations, that's the stuff that I'm after. But hey, oh wow, it's already 10 till. So when you guys now we talked about how I said like the Holy Grail is the full body apparition. That's what every investigator wants, especially if they make docuseries. What is, like, when you are reviewing an investigation and you're just not getting anything, but you hope to get this one thing to save that investigation so you can still make a docuseries out of it. What is your ideal piece? What is your like dream piece of investigation that would save that investigation that you've got nothing else on?
Yeah, the full body apparition is always going to be the thing that everybody's chasing after that does any kind of video or anything like that. That's for sure. But 99% chance that's not going to happen. So if we could get even just like a shadow figure or something that we can't debunk that is very, very clear, I would be thrilled. Like we have like I said, we have so many cameras going. We have stationary cameras. We have handheld cameras. We have cameras that we set up pointed at trigger objects. We have everything. So being able to watch those and have something pay off to where we see like something cross the doorway or see something go down the hallway, it's anything like that, that would be like incredibly satisfying for us.
Right. Definitely. Man, there's a couple investigations that we've had to throw away because you just couldn't. It was either too much contamination, or there just wasn't anything that happened.
Yeah.
And when you're making a docu-series, there's just there's nothing you can do with that. No one wants to watch nothing.
Unfortunately, yeah.
You gotta have something. It's like, hey, look, yeah, we went to this location, and well, you can watch us trying to get some activity, but no activity happened. But still, go to this location because you might be luckier than us. Like, you don't want to do that. It doesn't look good for you or the location.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the most disheartening one though was when there was just too much contamination. That was a really, really well known location. I'm not going to say the name of the location because I don't want to do that to anybody. But that I was so excited to go there. Had a really great guest investigator with us, and we pulled all the outs for it, and just too much contamination. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing, because no matter what, but it could have been that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, that even yeah, but it could have been that. Oh yeah, because it always went back to that one thing, and it just that was disheartening. So, but hey, at least I got to go to that location.
So the best way for us to float people to you is your YouTube channel.
Yes, please. Everybody go check out youtube.com/WVPara, WVPARA. You can search Forgotten Relics in the search bar. It should bring it up as well. But we definitely are, like I said, very proud of what we have so far. And we're getting better every time we go out. We're learning new techniques. We're learning new lighting. We're learning the filmmaking aspect of it as we go. So it's only going to get better. So watch what we have, but know that we're working really hard to make it even better.
Yeah, time is the most valuable currency. And of course, Shawn and I appreciate your time, 2 hours of your time. It really is a blessing. And just the time and, heart that you guys have, like on all the channels, especially TikTok, but on your YouTube, it's definitely a valuable, use of everyone else's time to consume that content, to learn, to experience it, and for people to go back and listen to this again, listen to your answers on all these questions, and the Into the Abyss, all that jazz. You dropped a lot of gold, and those little gems that I think when people go back and rewatch it, re-listen to it, and they're going to take a lot away from this episode. And just know that Shawn and I really, really appreciate you, JJ.
I appreciate the kind words. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys letting us come on and promote everything. You guys were awesome. You did a great job. The questions were outstanding. So thanks for your time. And for anybody who has any questions at all, don't hesitate to hit us up. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time, so I have a lot of useless knowledge to throw around. So anybody who needs it, hit us up.
Awesome. Hey, thank you for coming on once again. We're welcome to come on. Each time you drop a video, message me, man, and we'll have you back on. I want to help you guys promote. Hopefully we get you guys at least a couple more views here and some more followers. And
and listen, JJ, you're awesome, but you gotta bring Scott. I wanna see the person who created that thing. Okay, I mean, if he was one hands on with that boob buddy thing down over there, we need to have him on too. We need to pick his brain.
Scott's he's a little camera shy. He prefers to be behind the camera instead of in front of the camera. But I think I might be able to twist his arm and get him to come on next time.
Yeah,
hey, you know what? We could have him on without video, so just be you, and then he would just kind of look. Let's see if I can do this.
Have a picture of that boob buddy thing.
Right
there, you go. Yeah. In his voice, yeah.
Have its mouth move too. We'll get creative, JJ. We will.
Yeah.
I like it.
I really appreciate you. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, man. Did you have is there anything else you want to throw out there before we go ahead and wrap things up? I know I put the link in the comments there, so people will hopefully find the link for the full channel for YouTube. If there's anything else, do you have any events, Paracons, anything you guys will be going to, or anything?
Not yet. We're planning on some stuff for later in the year, so fingers crossed everything comes together. No, everybody just wanted to shout everybody out who's helped us out with Forgotten Relics. Shout out to like I said, Sweet Springs, to Heyman, Teresa, and Cindy do a great job there. Shout out to our friend Lindsay from Dark Hollow Paranormal, who helped us out with one of our locations. Shout out to Austin and the Underground Paranormal Network for hooking us up with the Ohio locations. And then obviously shout out to Vanessa and Scott for helping me along this journey. So nice. Everybody, much love, and can't wait to show you what we have coming up.
Nice. We got to get Austin on here again. He came on when I first started the podcast. We got Austin on. We got to get him back on. I'm going to message him. He's a good guy. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
definitely. Hey, and if people want to meet the rest of your team too, man. People like to get to know people. So, like I said, you guys are welcome on anytime. Anything we can do to help. This is why we started the show. So, thanks a lot for coming on, man. Guys, I guess we'll just go ahead and start wrapping it up. I hope we helped you guys over this hump day and help you guys slide into the weekend. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will actually see you guys next week. Brian, do you know who our guest is next week?
No, but you do.
I do. It's right here on my calendar.
I like everything to be a surprise. Like I don't have the questions. So as soon as I look at that doll's face, I just start thinking of these questions on the side.
So what I'm hearing is I don't need to include our paranormal podcast in my Google Calendar that I used for our guests. Keep it private. We'll surprise you.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, that calendar doesn't sync. All I have on my calendar is podcast. So.
Next week is Jeremy York. He's been in the field for a long time. He's a good guy. So that'll be another good show, guys. So
and it'll be our 100th podcast.
Ooh, Jeremy will be excited to hear that. He's number 100. Yeah. Awesome.
Perfect.
Nice. Man, that's what I forgot to do. I was going to play some Bone Thugs, East 1990. I'm not even pretend to sing. Sorry. Showing my age, too.
Only heavy metal here with JJ, okay?
That's right. That's right.
That or static audio. There's no in between, Sean.
No, I don't know. I kind of like Bone, man. Bone Thugs, they sing about the Ouija board. Mr. Ouija, can you hear me? You never heard any of that stuff? Come on. It sounds really good if you got a system. You got some bass going.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm from Cleveland. I don't know. I grew up in Cleveland in the 90s, man. It's all about the Bone. Even if you liked heavy metal, you were listening to Bone, too.
Oh, you got to get down with the Crossroads. Yeah, you got to get down.
Right. All right, guys.
Sean Gilmore, folks. It's all about the Bone. And on that note.
Oh, my God.
Everyone, you have a wonderful night. JJ, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, I guess we're leaving on Brian talking about my bone. All right. And on that note, everybody, have a great week. See you all next week.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
This paranormal adventure that we're all on, it connects us. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast with your host, Shawn Gilmore.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 10 years.
He was featured on the TV show Paranormal Survivor that airs on Travel Channel.
His passion is creating para-unity.
With your host, Brian Mursell.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 7 years.
He leads his own paranormal team.
He wants to help people start their paranormal adventure or grow their existing one. This is our paranormal adventure. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast.
It's about supporting. It's about making para-unity a real thing, because we all need to support each other within our community. And that's what the show has always been about.